Do you need encouragement to turn tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Perdue.
Hey, come on in. Hey, on this beautiful spring-like day. It's not spring here where I live in Tennessee, but I'm hoping spring is sprung, I'm hoping. All right. So today, hey, again, it's like always, learn something out of this podcast that you can use to help yourself and then be able to pay it forward to someone else you know in the future. You know, grab that little gold nugget of inspiration that's going to get you through today. Hey, today, this podcast guest here, she says, I am not a victim, but she is a warrior of overcoming the incest, rare cancer, financial devastation, and divorced from a husband who gambled everything away, basically. So we're going to learn some stuff from her. Hey, and we were just talking before we got started here, reality show person. So let's go and get started here with push that button. There we go. Ilene Marcus, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
We're doing our part and no more. So
I like that. We're doing our part and no more. That's right. Everybody else has got to pull their weight too.
That's right. I can only do so much. I'll do that part and not doing any more. No more, no less. So, all right. Well, I'm glad you're hearing everything like this, and with several topics that I'm interested in just to hear about. But we're going to go from. I really want to hear about this reality stuff going on here in a little bit, but let's go ahead and. So, incest, rare cancer, financial devastation, and husband that gambled it all away.
Yeah. Aren't I the lucky girl, right?
There you go.
Right. So, when you grow up in a house that has some issues, you don't know really that there are issues until you get outside and you can see the world. So
Exactly.
that stage you a little, right? You just think that's normal until you realize it's not. And I only share that story of incest so people know it doesn't hold them back. You can overcome it. You can have good relationships. And I've really learned that, that had nothing to do with me. That was, in my case, my grandfather, who he had his own, whatever was going on with him, that's who he was. But I got other skills and other gifts to be able to handle that because it happened to me. And that's really what, for me, all of those things, the cancer, the devastation, the almost dying, I had a heart attack 6 months ago, all of those.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, that's what happened 6 months ago, James. I had a heart attack.
Well, I was telling you earlier, you reached out in October, and we're just now getting together. And then, I checked.
Yeah.
Last week said, "Hey, are you still interested?" Yes, and
here we are.
I didn't know it was a heart attack. Wow. Okay.
Well, my father. It's a funny story. My father died of a heart attack at 46, and I had a heart attack at 64. Right, the converse.
Oh, okay.
But I survived. I was blessed, and that's where I want to go with that story, because what I've learned is whenever something happens to me, and we all have friends and neighbors and relatives that we see horrible things happen that shouldn't happen in this world, but we also see who they are. Do they go down the rabbit hole? Do they have a pity party? Do they, isolate? Do they get stuck? Or do they say, you know what? Today, that's my job, fighting that heart attack, being the best I can do, just taking what's right in front of me and just trying to get to the next place. I happen to be a big Star Trek fan. Are you a Star Trek fan?
There you go. I've seen it. I'm not really a fan, but I watched it when I was younger.
Yeah, didn't we all? But, you think about every episode, they had to overcome an obstacle. And they had to use everything they had to survive. And that's kind of what life is. And some of us just get bigger and bigger obstacles or things that are more hard to test. So that's how I feel about my past. Everything I did was just a way to get me to hook into what ingenuity do I have? What skills do I have? What resources do I have that I've never used, but I need now to use, or I won't make it. So it's taken me, I always had that, like I'm going to survive thing, but understanding now, being able to look back, that was actually one of the greatest gifts I've could have gotten, that ability to know, to really test myself, to challenge my abilities, has been really an incredible life learning, and something that's really propelled me towards this reality show we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Well, and it's good that you learn the survival early, because there's a lot of people that don't get something tested until they're later on in their life, past their teenage life, and then they're not sure on what to do and how to handle it and how to move forward. And the basic thing is, first, you've got to accept what went on to start your healing. You don't have to agree with it, you don't have to love it, but again, getting that acceptance, that took place. I don't care, but we're going to move on.
That is so well said, because, it's those things that we ignore that come back and haunt us. So, if we put our head in the sand, I say like an ostrich, right? Your head's in the sand and your ass is out in the air, and you think, you're handling it. You're not handling it. And there's a lot of spiritual teachings that say that until you can detox emotionally, mentally, until you can take what's inside of you and purge it, it's going to keep on showing up again and again in all your relationships. So yeah, it's a burden to bear when you learn them young, but I agree with you. It's very hard if you've never faced adversity to do it as you get older. It's definitely a learned skill, and it's definitely something that is cumulative. There's a lot of data that says that trauma is cumulative. The more trauma you have, the more it impacts you. But resilience and perseverance is also cumulative. The more you do it, the more you can do it.
That's right. And again, once you learn that little secret within you, that you can move forward. I got a friend that's going through cancer right now, pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
And hey, oh yes. And so I've been making him shirts once a month to help to inspire him. So I got my shirt on today. I don't know if we can all see it. Let me see if I can. Hold on, Irene, don't go anywhere. See if I can get this up here. It says, "Believe in your perseverance."
Beautiful.
And then it's got me doing my Superman pose. Then at the bottom it says, "No cape required."
Oh, that's a good one.
So believe in your perseverance, and then no cape required. So.
And I think you're hooking into something really important. We each have to find our superpower, right? Mine is humor. Even in the worst situations, I can find, something to laugh at, something that my higher power has a sense of humor, something funny or just ironic that you didn't expect. That is always, this is not a sick situation, but I had a situation like a week or so ago. Well, it was actually a few weeks ago, where I was helping someone else. And she was particularly in a horrible state. So it was difficult to help her. And I had to take her to an appointment. And we stopped for coffee. And this woman was moving very slow. And I was against a rush. And I'm getting all anxious and blah, blah, blah. And the dog's in the car. And a longer story longer, it's taking a long time. And I'm like, just trying to be calm and nice. And at the end of the story was she spilled the coffee. So I had to go back in and buy another cup of coffee, right? So I go in and I did something I never do. I always just put my credit card on my phone, but I actually took cash and I paid the coffee in cash. And it's one of these gas stations up here that has that arm where the cash comes circling down. Yeah. And I got a penny. And I usually just take that change and throw it right into the tip jar. But I looked at it and I'm like, that penny looks interesting. And the lady goes, oh, you should check it out. I go home and don't talk about ironic after that day of challenging, keeping myself together, helping this woman, being late, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but we know sometimes those are the hardest days. That penny was what they call a Lincoln L rim mistake penny. It was a 1946 Lincoln penny with L printed on the rim, no mint mark, worth $1,000. So how is that for like irony? If I hadn't looked at the penny, if I hadn't been nice and gone back, if I hadn't, right? Like that's the sense of humor. Look what was given to me when I just said, I just got to go with the flow.
If they wouldn't have spilled that damn coffee.
Exactly. Instead of being like, oh, my pants are wet now. It was like, all right, we'll get another. And look what I got, $1,000 penny. It's crazy.
There you go. It's awesome. You won the lottery that day. So
sure did. Then again, we win it every day, right?
I'm personally a believer in that. Yeah. I just told the story the other day about the lottery, about how our mindsets, okay? We should have that mindset that we're going to win whatever puts in our path today. You know,
Mhm.
just get through today. When we were about tomorrow when it gets here, and we're good. Got the mindset we should get. Well, I got this one friend. We've known each other 45 years, but his mom didn't raise him. She made grandparents raise him. Of course, they raised him like they raised her, which is not great. And but so he grew up and got into drugs, alcohol, been in and out of jail and stuff. And well, one day it had been like 18, 20 years ago now. And the lottery, first time getting up to $500 million 20 years ago. First time $500 million. I see this guy and he said, man, you see how much that lottery is up to? I said, yeah, man. He says, I sure love to win it. But if I did, they would take my food stamps away from me.
Uh,
And I go, see, that's the mindset he has.
yes.
And I said, what?
Yes.
What? And he was getting like $197 a month on food stamps. And I said, you couldn't live off $500 million.
20 years ago, you know what that was worth then?
Yeah. And I'm going, you couldn't have lived off. So that's the mindset. We should have that mindset that we're winning today, no matter what's it. And even if it slows us down today, we can finish it tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
I love that story because a big part of my brand and what I talk about is standing in your own sunlight and blocking yourself, right? That we get so fixed to one little thing that we don't see the biggest picture, or we get in our own way, penny wise and pound foolish all the time. And that is a great story about that, right?
yeah, it just whenever I think of mindsets, I throw his little. Try not to mention your name, Bobby, but
And that's why he didn't win the lottery.
so yeah, because of that mindset. Wow. But other than that, yeah, we should be. We're going to get kicked in the teeth when we least expect it in life. And again, what we've learned to build up until then is how we're going to react to it. And if we're on the successful side of fighting trials and tribulations, when the big stuff comes, we have an idea how to at least get started.
100%, right? It's a muscle that we keep flexing and we keep showing up for.
Yeah, like I said, I got a friend, Sam. Hey, if you get to listen to this later on, mention your buddy that he's got going through pancreatic cancer. And yeah, we tried to give him some T-shirts to help him, and he's got a good, strong mind. He's 80 years old, gonna be 80 this year,
Wow.
and he's doing pretty good with this treatment so far. But wow, I this cancer stuff, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Yeah, I mean, look, cancer has come so far. I was young when I had the cancer. I had a very, very rare cancer, something called gestational trophoblastic disease that about 20 people a year get in the US. That's it, all
Wow,
women.
20.
And of that 20, only 2 survive.
Mm.
And it's crazy, like if I didn't think I was worthy then because I survived that year, and it's related to a woman's cancer. So I was trying to get pregnant. So that's how I found it. I was trying to have a second child, but otherwise you don't even know that you have it, so it's crazy. So, but like that moment, it's not when they tell you you're going to live or die. It's when you don't know what's going on. That is just really, that's when you really have to call on all of your support network, your friends with the T-shirts, the people, because that unknowing is the hardest place to be when you're sick.
Yeah, yeah. I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know. I did this. Uh, like my doctor, he was trying to say something to me that I'm overweight, don't get me wrong, but I'm in a wheelchair. I do the best I can, and I do the best I can. But 2 years ago, they called and tell me a blood test showed that I'm diabetic, and I said, "Really?" And then told me, he said, I said, "Well, what was my glucose number?" He said, 234. I go, 234? I said, "I know they wanted under 200. Oh, all I got to do is lose 20 pounds, I said, we'd be in good shape." And then he was already talking about medicine,
Yeah.
give me on pills, give me on this, give me on. And I said, "Doc," I said, "I prefer you being point blank honest with me. James, you need to lose 20 pounds off your fat ass. And this is going to help you. And
Yeah.
I want you to be point blank. I don't want none of this playing around. Let's give me a chance. And since then, now my glucose, the other day I did it, is like 109.
Woo!
And
Look at
I've,
you.
I've lost 35 pounds. And don't get me wrong, I need to lose
Hard
another
to do when you live
35.
it when you live it where you do with the good fried chicken.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, especially a big old KFC. So, oh, and I don't want to jeopardize, but Bojang. I don't want to
I'm a
steal a lot of
Popeye.
this,
I'm a
but
Popeyes
Bojang,
girl,
well,
Louisiana.
Bojang, but Popeyes. I got funny with Popeyes that I was going by one day, and of course I go by, Professor of Perseverance, and so went by Popeyes one day, and their lights on their store had the P lit up, the O lit up, and the P lit up, but the word eyes wasn't lit up. And so I took a picture of it and said, "Look, even Popeyes is sporting Professor of Perseverance."
Perseverance, Pop. Yeah, that's
I
great.
need to get a hold of Popeyes and see if they'll sponsor me
Yeah, that's a great idea.
after that. So, all right, Irene, and yeah, I was interested to find out about the kid. I tell you what, I just heard just last night this woman, I don't know her, this is what I've seen on TV, and this comedy thing, and she gave birth last week, but they said 15 hours. You reminded me of this when you talking about they found your cancer because you were trying to get pregnant.
Yeah.
She's getting ready to give birth. 15 hours before she gives birth, they would tell her she has breast cancer
Oh my God.
right before then. But they said she was at stage 0, is that they caught it now. So
Yeah.
she's going to do well getting out, getting the treatment to get done. But wow, it's amazing how some results can wake you up to find something else that's
Yes.
more wrong.
Right.
And I'm a big believer that your body would tell you when something's wrong.
Yeah, and think about that. She went through the whole pregnancy not knowing. So she had the positivity during the pregnancy, and it's going to be rough with that baby, but at least now, she can take care of her and the baby's already healthy. That's amazing. That's a
Yeah.
gift.
Oh yeah, it's a definitely blessing that she got pregnant to be
Yeah,
able to find that. Now, who knows if she wouldn't have got pregnant, she probably would have found it with
yeah.
self-exam, stuff like that. But going to work out pretty good, it sounded like. So, but my mom, she went through lung cancer.
Ugh.
Shoot, it'd been 30 years ago. She smoked 2 packs a day and all that, and she went cold turkey and quit smoking, and now she just turned her 85 just past Sunday.
Bless her.
So
85.
got through her lung cancer and everything.
Yeah.
All right, Irene, I want to get to a little bit of story. Plus, I want to get into this reality now. All
Yeah.
right, what about this man that you loving, blind love, and they say love is blind, right? So,
My ex-husband, you mean?
yeah, with the
Yeah.
gambling, and all.
So you want to know the irony and the laugh there? He was an accountant.
Oh wow,
See,
there you go.
so look, he had a gambling problem, and addiction is no joke, right? And
Yeah.
the problem with an addiction is you hide it, you don't tell the truth. At the time, I lived in New York City, and if anyone lives in New York City or an apartment, you know that your mail gets delivered to a central mailbox, and sometimes it's behind a door, up the stairs, so you don't pick up your mail every day. And he always got the mail before me for years, and I guess he just got too into the ponies and the things, and I don't know what hurt more, really, that he lied to me or that I didn't know. Those are the things I think that stick with you. Like sometimes when we get sick or have an accident, it's sick or an accident, and you
Yeah.
don't know why the universe has chosen to give you that, but it's random, and you have to take that. It's not personal. It's personal because it happens to me, but it's not personal. But when you choose a partner who treats you like that, and you don't know, that is a deep hurt that you really do have to come back and heal from. So I had to really learn, it's a story. I was having cancer, I was having my chemo, and I was just finishing my chemo. My daughter was 3 years old, and I had been sick for months, and we went away for the weekend because, my husband had ants in his pants, and he, hadn't been able to do anything, and it was the summer, and I was so sick, I couldn't get in the sun. I don't know if anybody's been through chemo, especially, this is 20 years ago, the way they did it. It was like full spectrum,
Yeah.
the more you suffer, the better the outcome will be, is what they thought. And I was so sick, and he dropped me off. Usually, we lived in New York City. It was so sick. We used to park like 20 blocks away from the house because it was cheaper. So we'd like go to the parking garage and then take a taxi up. But he dropped me off because I was so sick, and we had been away for a few days. So I went in, I opened the mail, and I saw all my bank accounts at zero. That's how I found it. And, I had just finished knowing I was probably going to survive. I had gone through the chemo. They had very good odds that I was going to survive. And I had just bargained, I believe in God, with God that, and there was some problems in the marriage before. If I survive, I will make this marriage work. I will love this man. We will have another child. Everything will be good. And, once I saw that and saw the lying and it's really not even the situation, it's how he handled it afterwards, right? The belligerence, the indignation, like making like believe it was my fault. And I had to end up divorcing him. And it's sad for my daughter. She was 4 or 5 at the time. She's gonna be 30 this week, but she survived.
There you go.
And I had to learn how to retrust. But I learned the lesson that if people want to hide something from you, they're going to hide it. And there's nothing you can do different. You can ask them better questions. You can be more aware. But, I can't fault myself for wanting to love the man I married and trust him. It's all on him that he did that. And, it's hurt going forward. Believe me, when you lose that kind of money in your 30s, 40s, you lose a big chunk of what you were trying to build. But you know what? So I have to eat more tuna fish and less steak. What are you going to do, right?
Who was it? Dave Ramsey talks about teaching people how to get out of financial debt and everything. And he tells them you got to eat beans and rice and beans.
Delicious.
So that's what you can't have the steak tonight. You got to have the beans and rice.
So many good options.
Then once you get out of all that, then you can, live it up. So
I joke and say you have to shop at the post office. Well, now, not so much now, but then you had to use stamps for all your mail. So you could pick which pretty stamps because you had to buy them anyway. So, there are ways of satisfying all your needs when you don't have money.
I tell you, Eileen, you're like me. I like to use a lot of humor. So I can see how you are able to. Now, would you like that as a child?
Yes.
But humor, or did you develop it?
No, I always found the humor, but my family was not. I grew up in a very strict house, so I got yelled at. Why are you laughing? Why are you smirking?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like they didn't like that I was making fun of things. I thought what are you gonna do? I was born with it, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I'm like it too. I rarely go to a funeral, even though I want to pay respect and everything. But I know I'm going to say something jokingly about the person, the good times we had, and all these other people that are mourning are going to look at me like I'm a stupid idiot. And so I usually go to the visitation to tell everybody I'm sorry, sign in, and then I'm out of there in about 15 minutes.
But I think that's changed. I think
you're right about that. I think that has changed.
Really enjoy the laughter and want to remember and celebrate. And even through the tears, those are the people that can laugh. It's really, that's the healing. I mean, we know that, why are comics so famous and why do we search them out? Because they take pain and they make it funny so we can get through it. And I think it's really changed that people, it's not, I mean, I agree. I'm usually the loudest person in the funeral home, but but still it's people want to hear the stories and the jokes and remember. It's good.
Yeah, because now they don't call it a funeral, basically the celebration of life is what they're saying.
Well,
I believe that has changed. I believe so. So let me see now. We just talked about this, and a friend of mine, he passed away here recently, and they're having a thing this weekend. And so his biggest claim to fame with me is we went to church together, but we didn't really meet until I went on my first mission trip after I got saved in 2000. 2001, I'm already on a plane going to Comora Islands on the other side of Africa. And Joe and Tim, with me in a wheelchair, they were responsible to take care of me to make sure I got in and out and no one left me behind and things like that. And Joe passed away here recently. So I went
carry you.
definitely want to show my respect for him
Yeah.
because wasn't for him and Tim, it would have been a difficult. Now I'm sure other people would have stepped up. I'm not saying it would have been that much more difficult, but to know that they were there, God put those two people for me to make sure that I can experience everything as well.
And I'm sure you have some good stories. I have a few friends that are in a wheelchair, and we have some funny stories, about how we can take the extra pieces of cake because we have a ready-made shopping basket, not while you're having cake, but you know what I mean? Or they couldn't get you and you were all stuck and you had to work together, it's a beautiful part of sharing sometimes.
Now we're talking 2001. 24 years ago, we
Wow.
went to this trip. I still have my shirt that we went to Africa with in Comore Islands, and I think I'm gonna put that shirt on
That's a great
to
idea.
go show my respects to him.
That's
So,
beautiful.
all right, Eileen, now I'm ready. I'm ready now to hear this reality.
Oh,
So, show thing that you worked on, did on, and then
yeah.
let's get into your product you're working on.
Yeah, so I had a great career and then it blew up because that's not even in my story. My boss went to jail for embezzling, so I was like collateral damage and got fired. And then I had to kind of create my own career once that happens to you, even though I was well respected. I had a lot of consulting, but I started speaking and writing on team motivation. I have this book. Here it's on my mug, Managing Annoying People. And I started going around talking to people, and I started realizing that a lot of it is just keeping people motivated and helping people to figure out how to create a financial model for themselves. So I started working with entrepreneurs, and it was, I'm a social worker by training. So it was really, people think about entrepreneurs and Shark Tank or this accelerator or Techstars, but it's really about building community and finding people who are like-minded and creating something. So I've been doing that the last few years. And, there's an old joke. If you keep on going to a barbershop, you're going to get a haircut. Well, if you keep on hanging out with entrepreneurs, you're going to create a product. So
There
I
you go.
have created the Ilene pan. So let me give you a quick background. I moved into this house about 18 years ago, and the house was kind of ancient then. So the stove in the kitchen was kind of sideways. People are younger these days, but like my grandmother, an old enamel stove with like the drain pans, and even though the
Yeah.
floor was plumb, the stove was crooked. And over the years, it got crookeder and crookeder, and I couldn't get a new stove. So I started to get it lean into the pan. I
Yeah.
like to cook, so I take the thick slices of eggplant and cook them, on the side closer to the fire, and the thinner ones up. I put the onions in and the peppers at the same time, and they would cook together because one was a little off the thing. I would take, an omelet. My daughter likes it well. I like it runny. I didn't have to cut it in half. I didn't have to mess. I didn't have to use two pans. One pan, cook one omelet. It was two different temperatures. Last year, I finally got a new, nice, flat top stove. And what do you think happened? I missed the leaning stove. So
Oh, I
I
got
missed
you.
I was getting good at cooking. So I created the Ilene pan, which is a sloped frying pan. So different than a wok, which is a lot of sides, and different than a grill pan. It has a natural little slope where the fat drains more naturally. One side of it is a little heats up like in between, medium and medium high, heats up halfway. So the bottom is the base temperature of whatever the stove's on. And the other half of the frying pan is a little less. So, you have garlic that's going to burn, but you're also putting in something else. You put the garlic on the side that won't burn. So I
There
created
you
this
go.
product, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. And I had the heart attack. Everything happens. I don't think everything happens for a reason, but I think everything happens the way it's supposed to, or everything presents an opportunity that you might not see. So I have this heart attack. And when you have a heart attack, I'm very blessed. I'm good. But you have to, it's like spraining an ankle. You have to get your heart back up to full functioning. You have to strengthen it, PT,
Hmm.
cardiac rehab. So I was home a lot. And what do you do when you're home a lot? You scroll a lot on your phone, right? That's modern technology.
Yeah.
And I got social media targeted for, do you have a product? Do you want to talk about it? For a show called The Blocks, Blox. And it is on Prime and is on Facebook. And the guy who heads it is a guy who has been in a lot of extreme TV, Wes Bergman. Do you know that name? He's beat the challenge. He's like, you could Google him. He's very
Yeah.
famous for all these big challenges. physical challenges and a big reality star, but he created this program to be kind of before Shark Tank, because people on Shark Tank already have money and customers, right? They have to prove
Yeah.
that. That's called traction in the business world. They
Mhm.
already have traction. This is for people that have an idea but want to get it launched and don't, and need some help and support and testing. And I applied to the show with the Ilene plan and I got accepted. And it was
All
one of those,
right.
an interview, a phone interview, an application, a video. I get accepted. And then you go to Tulsa. Oh, actually, we filmed it in Tulsa for the week, and it's grueling, even though it's emotional, because what they're doing is giving you business lessons, asking you to apply it to your business. Then you have a competition to see who in each kind of pod did best that day, and then all the best entrepreneurs go on the stage that night and fight it out for who did the best that day to see who's going to be the next great business. And I did, so that was a lot. It was like 12 hours a day for 7 days.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I can't tell you the outcome because they're currently on season 15 and I'm in season 21. But let me tell you, all the things in my life, the heart attack, all of the things that happened to me, the boss being, losing the money, the boss losing the job. Somehow in creating this product, I feel like I'm being redeemed. Like instead of just showing people I was a good manager, I'm good at this or I'm good at that, this product is giving me a chance to showcase everything I do well, to talk about something interesting, to build a business, to connect with others, to create a market. And the people that showed up, season 21, were just such gracious, beautiful souls of helping each other and lifting each other. And like I said, I can't tell you what happened, but be sure to watch because you will see me. I know for sure I got a lot of airtime. So I'm really excited about launching this product.
Now, did you have an idea of when this is coming out?
They don't tell you. They're on 15, probably 6
Yeah,
to
you
8
said
months.
15
Yeah,
and
so
21. So
I'll be sure to put it on all my social media
you
and get
do that,
back to
please,
people.
and be sure to send something to me on Podmatch so I
I
can
will.
update everything. I'd
Wonderful.
like to watch because I can say I know her. So
It was, but the thing about it, that's all the backstory. But in the moment, when you have 15 minutes to pitch something or
yeah,
create something, we have to call on, what we talked about. What are those internal reserves? What do I believe in? How do I stay focused? And it was just really exciting for me to be able to know, a lot of the kids there were young. I'm 64, these kids were 26. There was a 16-year-old.
yeah.
And I am going toe to toe with them. And I got to say, look, I'm glowing. It was really, some people want to climb Mount Everest. You probably, I don't know, that's for me. I have the joke about
My Mount Everest every day is get out of my bed, my wheelchair without hitting the floor. Without hitting the floor.
Exactly. And I say my Mount Everest right is getting to the bathroom before I
I
poop.
hear you. I
As
hear
I
you.
get older. But and I also like to say every dead body on Mount Everest was once highly motivated. You have to remember.
Once. That's
But,
right.
but my Mount Everest, I didn't know what it was. And I think it might have been that TV show, because it was like just something so different. And I had to train for it and I had to use different skills. And I felt like, it was the beginning of a challenge and I ended it. And it's just put me on such a great trajectory that
Well, and I even believe that all your experience leading up to this, gave you the idea to come up with it, gave you what you need problem solving to be able to move to the next step. Again, trials and tribulation, getting it tested, doing it right. I think all that come from earlier hardships.
couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
All
So I
right.
feel really, it's amazing that it all came together. You don't know what that thing in your life is going to be that just pulls it all together. And for me, it happened to be The Block, season 21.
I get this friend, Dr. J. Hey, she come up with her own, I don't know if it's through grandmom, passed hand me down, what, but come up with her own tea to
Ooh.
manufacture it and start. She's got it in stores in certain areas. And she, I think, tried to get on Shark Tank twice. I don't know if she got as far as she would like. I don't think she got on TV with it. She
Yes.
did her little pitch, but I don't think she made it. I don't think so.
Yeah, you can have her reach out to me, and I could introduce her to the blocks, because what they're really good at is about the growth model, right? Like at Shark Tank, you're already kind of traction and you want to grow more. But if she's at this level, they kind of help you really refine your business model and scale it so you can grow. So
Okay.
if she's interested, I can introduce her to the people, tell her about it. I'd love to.
I'll try to introduce both of y'all together.
That'd be great.
So, all right, Ilene, I appreciate all this. I tell you what, you wore me out with all your happiness and go getting and positivity. Whew. So, which is a good type of wore out for me. So, I tell people, if no one ever gets this podcast, at least I know I got motivated today. So,
Thank you.
I'm glad we got to meet and everything. And do those things. Let's try not to be a stranger. I would like to keep up with you a little later on, see how things are going. Now, she mentioned her book, and I have a copy right here for you.
Ooh,
See, I didn't know
right.
you had. I didn't know you had that till you put your coffee mug up. So while you were telling your story, I went and hunted down real quick.
Yeah, thank you.
So there it is. Managing annoying people. That's a good title.
Yeah,
So
because it's really about managing yourself, because we're most annoying usually.
yeah. So you're right. Because I tell people that we kill our own dreams in life more than the people who surround us. You know, we may hear them say, "Why are you going to do that? You're going to fail. Why you want to do it? Why do you want to stay where you're at?" You know, we may hear that, but we're the ones that kicks ourselves and stops us from doing or trying. And I mean, so what if we fail? Let's go forward.
Yep.
So
The whole game is to shatter those self-imposed limits, right? That's why we're put on this earth, to go further than we thought we could.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So all right, Ilene, I appreciate you being here. And if you want to give everybody your social medias, how to find you in case they want to talk to you about anything.
Yeah, I'd love it. So my name, ILENE MARCUS.com. You will find me if you Google managing annoying people. I usually come right up. You can find my website, my book. I'm also using the handle Ilene, ILEAN, Pan, for my pan. So you can find that on a website, on my Twitter. I'm just TikTok. I'm just starting TikTok. I think that's going to be my sales channel. So that's an uphill. Anyone that can help, I'd love to hear it. But if you Google me, Ilene Marcus, several things will come up, and love to hear from you.
And I'll put some sites and stuff down in the show notes to make it a
Great.
little easier for people to find you too. So,
Yeah.
Ilene, you've been a blessing for me. I appreciate you being here. Now, we know people are hurting and struggling today. And if you can leave us with a positive message to help them get through today, that'd be a blessing to all of us.
I like to say, just because it's not working doesn't mean it's not working. You might feel like you're going nowhere, nothing's happening, you're trying and you're not getting results, but you don't know that. We have to persevere, keep on going. Every little turn makes something happen. So just because you don't think it's not working, don't give up. It doesn't mean it's not working.
I think that may be a T-shirt from my friend next month. That's a nice quote. I
Thank you.
appreciate that. I'll put your name on that quote on the
I love
T-shirt.
it.
Yeah. So, all right. That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. Never heard any that not worded quite like that, but yeah, if you don't think it's not working, doesn't mean it's not working. So
Right.
that's good. So powerful, what we would say. All right, Ilene, appreciate it. Hey, everybody else, do something. Pass this on. You know, someone can use a good laughter anyway with all this. Again, laughter is a great medicine, and to help you get through what you're going through, struggling through. Again, it may not be today. It may be 10 years from now, but you can come back and get something you can grab here. So, Ilene, thank you for being here. Everybody else, I'm Dr. James Purdue, the professor of perseverance. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.